What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, joined by Tyler Stafford. After the Astros were shut out by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim on Sunday at Daikin Park, the Angels had shut out six. They had thrown six shutouts all year. They have statistically one of the worst pitching staffs, not only in the American League, but in all of Major League Baseball. No pitching staff walks more batters than the Angels. No American League pitching staff has a higher whip than the Angels. Not to be outdone, the Colorado Rockies, who the Astros saw before the Angels came to town, they have the highest ERA, FIP, and WHIP of any pitching staff in baseball. Opponents are hitting 299 against the Rockies, which is an unfathomable number. Not included in that number is the Astros, because in 6 games against the Angels and the Rockies, 2 of the worst pitching staffs this sport has to offer, the Astros have scored 12 runs. They are in an offensive funk that is very deep and that stretches beyond just these 6 games. Tyler, they finished August today. They played their 28th game in August today. They went 13-15 in August, and they averaged 3.5 runs per game in those 28 games. The Major League average is 4.46 runs per game. And this was the month, Tyler, when it was supposed to all come together. Yordan Alvarez is back. They acquired Jesus Sanchez. They acquired Carlos Correa. Jeremy Pena got healthy in the middle of that. This is as close to full strength as this lineup can be, and man, does it look anemic right now.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel, Chandler. Jeez, it's a Labor Day weekend. I'm trying to enjoy myself, and you're ruining my night. Yeah, they looked terrible. I mean, what they have 11 straight innings where they had a runner on or a runner in scoring position or something and didn't score a run. Like, they just, as we've said for a while, they keep getting guys on, but they just cannot get anybody in. I mean, it almost felt like at the beginning of the game, like, oh, good, the Astros have figured something out. They get the first 2 guys on, looking good, and then they just disappear for the rest of the game. And I mean, outside of Yordan, nobody's even really taking competitive at bats. Like, I watched Altuve ground to shortstop for 3 straight days now. Getting pretty tired of that. Getting tired of first pitch swings from Yainer after 6 straight balls out of the zone and the base is loaded and you pop up from there. I mean, they look awful, but it's strange because yes, they're striking out, but it's not like you watch them and teams are putting up 17 strikeout games. It's just, they just keep grounding out to third base and shortstop at the worst possible times. It just seems like it is written in stone that as soon as they get a guy on, a double play is coming next. And you're wasting starts. You're wasting good pitching. I believe, maybe you can pull this up, but I want to say Hunter Brown is like 2-4 or something in his last 15 starts. He has like a 2.78 ERA in his last 15 starts, and he has 2 wins. They just, I don't know what's going on. The team is better. Like, they have better players. The offense should be better. It just isn't. And it's tough to watch right now.
We're not using pitcher wins as a stat in the year of 2025.
No, but it is noticeable that they are not winning the games that they should be when Hunter Brown. I mean, let me look it up. Hang on. We're going to do this.
I've got it pulled up.
Okay. Their record, okay, they're 10-6 in those last 16, not including today. But I mean, he's just, yeah, I mean, it's very, very frustrating to watch.
The Astros in Hunter Brown's last, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In his last 7 starts, here are the amount of runs the Astros have scored with Hunter Brown on the mound.
Cool.
1, 1, 5, 4, 0, 1, and 0. He's not getting any run support, which that's something that aces kind of deal with at times. You know, Justin Verlander for a while kind of went through that stretch here where it seemed like every time he pitched, the Astros would give him 2 runs of support and say, go make it hold up, big man. And most of the time, Justin Verlander could do that. Yeah, I'm conflicted on a couple things, Tyler. Like I am always, or I try to at least be kind of the voice of, this is a long season, marathon, not a sprint, not to be overreactive or hyperbolic about things. And part of me just wants to think that this is just what it is. It's a week long funk at the worst time where they just haven't broken out, and it's kind of one of these things in a season with peaks and valleys. But I mean, this goes beyond just this homestand, right? They have scored 2 or fewer runs in 11 of their past 18 games. That is putting way too much pressure on a pitching staff that has already had no margin for error, given how injured it is. Now, with no support, it's becoming more and more difficult for them to hold up their end of the bargain, and they're trying their best. I mean, the Astros gave up 3 runs today. You should be able to win a ball game like that, only giving up 3 runs, but they couldn't get it done. It was interesting after the game. It was interesting, so twofold. This is a podcast that is listened to by a lot of people that are not fans of the hitting coaches, that are not fans of the Astros' overall approach. If you can determine what the Astros' overall approach is by watching them, feel free to tell me, because I don't really know. But after the game today, well, first before the game, Dana Brown went on with Robert Ford on the team's radio broadcast, as he does before every game on Sunday. And as Dana is prone to do, he was pretty blunt about where the Astros are offensively right now. He said, "I think guys are trying to do too much. They want to be the big man on campus, and sometimes it's all a matter of stringing together a few hits." They then went out and had a single and a double on a day where they didn't put a runner to third base against Jose Soriano, who let's also say this, he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Jose Soriano is one of those pitchers that a lot of people haven't heard of, but has really, really good stuff. Like, there is no shame in getting it shoved to you by Jose Soriano. Like, he is a good pitcher. The guy they faced in the first game of the Rockies series, Tanner Gordon or whatever, he is not. Like, there's no excuse to go 6 scoreless against that guy, but whatever. So then after the game, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, and Joe Espada all pretty much said the same thing, is that the Astros are getting outside of their approach. They're not following the plan. There's things that they're just not doing that we are accustomed to seeing them do. Again, I can't really identify what the Astros approach is, only because if you think a team has one blanket approach for 162 games, like, that's just not how this works. Like, you game plan for each pitcher, you game plan for each guy coming out of the bullpen. Like, there's a different approach when it comes to, each pitcher and how they throw, what they're susceptible to, things like that. But uniformly, there should be something that is constant. And, the only thing that is constant about this team, and it's something that Dana Brown has talked about in the past, is that they are very aggressive. You mentioned it earlier. You're tired of watching Yainer Diaz swing at the first pitch a bunch. Jose Altuve is going to the Hall of Fame based off of swinging on the first pitch a bunch.
Yeah, he's allowed to do that.
Right.
Just so we're clear, he can do that. But everyone else, I'm upset with.
All right, so follow me. So Carlos Correa was talking after the game today, and it was one of those questions that I asked him. Because this team sees so few pitches, they see the fewest pitches per plate appearance in baseball this year. They saw the fewest pitches per plate appearance last year, after which Dana Brown said we need to be more patient. That has not happened. Part of it is that Isaac Paredes has not played in the last 40 games, and he sees more pitches than anyone in baseball. So don't discount how much that matters. But anyway, asked Carlos Correa today, do you think it would be beneficial if you guys take a couple more pitches, if the aggression is, abated a little bit? And he gave a pretty interesting answer. He said, when you have aggressive hitters in the lineup and you try to make them see more pitches, it hurts more than it helps. That's not what they're accustomed to. It's foreign for them, and it's not the way they hit. So aggressive hitters are always going to be aggressive. And then he went on to say, you've seen a lot of aggressive hitters in this game have success, but I've never seen an aggressive hitter try to be more passive and have success. And that's always been my fallback when fans are mad about their aggressive approach. That's just the roster. Like, Yainer Diaz is a free swinger. He's always been a free swinger. He's always going to be a free swinger. That's not going to change overnight. Same thing with Jose Altuve. Christian Walker is seeing fewer pitches per plate appearance this year than he has in the last 3 years. This is a team that, by and large, swings a lot. To me, it's not an approach. It's not a coaching problem. It's not an approach problem. It's a roster. Like, this is the roster you have. Like, these are these guys. They're not like Jose Altuve is not going to wake up on Monday morning and say, you know what? I'm going to go look at 7 pitches per plate appearance today. That's just not how he is wired. And he's done a pretty damn good job of being aggressive and it working out for him. So I think it's a weird middle ground for them to be in. Of, they know they've got to make changes and they know they've got to get some stuff shored up. I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like we said, it's just been incredibly frustrating to watch. Overall, again, they still have been as hard as it is for people who watch them every day to understand. They've still been a good hitting team.
Yes.
Like they've been a good offense until the month of August. So from the beginning of the year until the month of August, they had a team OPS of 727, good for 12th best in baseball. They're not, crushing people, but they've been an above average, slightly above average team before the month of August. Month of August, they had the 9th worst OPS in all of baseball, beat by the likes of the Chicago White Sox, the Marlins, the Rockies are above them. So they had a month where, we talk about, okay, these guys are free swingers. And so sometimes those things are pretty heavily reliant on BABIP, batting average on balls in play, because you're not drawing a ton of walks. The only way that you can score is if, when you make contact, those hits fall. And sometimes, like we saw with Mike Trout today, you pop up to left field and accidentally get a double. And sometimes you hit 114 mile an hour ground ball to the shortstop and turn a double play. Like I said, the results have not been there, but watching them, you don't feel the same sense of dread of like they're just striking out constantly, like they have no chance. They just haven't had balls go through when they need them to, and the power is just not there, which is just, that's been true the entire season. They don't have, a lineup full of guys that are going to just hit a ton of home runs. I mean, Jose Altuve, God bless him, leads the team in home runs, which great. I mean, that's Jose Altuve, like we said, Hall of Famer, but 23 home runs from your 5'6" DH left fielder as we enter September now is not going to get it done across the whole season. So it's been frustrating. I will say though, man, Yordan Alvarez is good. He hot take.
Yeah.
What's he had, a 500 OBP since he came back? He walks every other plate appearance, hit a ball to the moon. He's doing those. My favorite Yordan hits are the ones where he just hits it so hard that the second baseman doesn't have time to get the grounder. I mean, he caused an error on Christian Moore the other day, hitting him a ball that I doubt he's ever seen hit that fast at him at second base. So it's good to see him, back in the lineup. The lineup looks deep. When you see the lineup, you're like, shoot, it's not until the 7th batter that you start thinking, I don't know. The top of the lineup is a good lineup. They just haven't produced. But those things ebb and flow. That's what we're going to go with. And it just, it's been very frustrating to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's what's frustrating. I'm speaking for the fans here, I guess. I think that's what's frustrating fans more, is because August was supposed to be the month when it all came together, right? Like, you acquired Jesus Sanchez, Carlos Correa, and Ramon Urias at the deadline. You activated Yordan Alvarez off the injured list. Jeremy Pena got healthy and came back for that first series at Fenway in August. This was supposed to be the time where this is it. This is your team. They're still waiting on Jake Myers, but still, this is the closest thing to a full strength lineup that they have run out there since the beginning of May. And in response, they scored 99 runs in 28 games in August. The only team to score fewer runs in August were the Cleveland Guardians. If you have followed baseball for the last, 5 to 8 years, you understand that the Guardians have not hit at all in the last 5 to 8 years. It is the reason why that's preventing them from taking that next step. And it's also kind of speaks to how weird this season is. The Guardians have the lowest batting average in baseball, so it's not surprising that they don't score a ton of runs. The Astros have the third highest batting average in baseball, and they're just not scoring a ton of runs. They have a 712 OPS with runners in scoring position, which is, I believe, the 18th or 19th highest in baseball. Hitting with runners in scoring position it's one of those weird things. Like, you can either do it or you can't. Like, there's not like you can't draw up the hit a single through the 6 hole with a runner on third play. Like, you can either do it or you can't. There's some approach things that can be different. There's some, maybe not selling out for a ton of power. Dana Brown kind of mentioned that today as something that he has seen, that guys are trying to swing too big, things like that. But it's all things that, like, these guys know. Like, they don't need the coaches to tell them that. Like, they understand this, but it's not an overnight fix, and it's not something that I think is going to, magically rectify itself in a day. Will it rectify itself in general? Yes. They're not going to go through stretches. This lineup is too good and too deep for them to do this for a prolonged period of time. But it has come at a pretty inopportune time against on a homestand where they should have made some hay. Like,
Yep.
They went they're 3-3 so far. They play the Angels again on Labor Day tomorrow, but they're 3-3 so far, and they could have put the Mariners away. Like,
Yep.
if they go 5-1, if they do what a championship contending club should do against these two pitching staffs, they could look and they could have a 4 or 5 game lead on the Mariners in the division and be sitting pretty. And instead, it's a 2-game lead and it's still a dogfight. So they've got to hit better. They've got to produce more runs. And again, it's not just these 6 games. It's a whole month thing. But the Astros and their fans, you have to hope it's just one bad month. But it did not look pretty this week at Dyken Park. But much to your chagrin, we'll keep talking about it right after this message from DraftKings.
The dog days of summer means MLB is fully heating up, and so is your shot to score big. Download the Pick 6 app for the easiest way to turn your baseball takes into actual cash. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. No gimmicks, no weird rules. And get this, all new Pick 6 customers will instantly get $50 in bonus picks on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL. New customers play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Ride the upside where a few bucks can turn into a bag. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. 8/24/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Before we go any further, thoughts, prayers, and healing to Taylor Ward. That was as gruesome of something as I've seen in a long time, because if you were in the ballpark, like, you heard it.
Yeah.
And when you hear someone's head hit metal, like I heard it from the press box, like, that was, I cannot believe he stayed upright. Like, he stayed upright, seemed within himself, like, was able to, like, wave the trainers out, things like that. That was really scary. And Joe Adell after the game came out and said things so strongly that I think the Astros I don't know if they're gonna have to make a statement, but it's certainly gonna have to be something they're gonna have to look at in terms of, better protecting that out-of-town scoreboard near the Crawford boxes. Joe Adell was pretty forthright in saying that, he said, and these are his words, this shit is ridiculous. And he said there should be no out-of-town metal scoreboard anywhere on a baseball field, and that these are the major leagues. And he's not wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. That's, again, I was talking about this with some people after the game. I've covered the team for 8 years. That's the first time I've seen anything like that happen.
Yep.
So yes, it doesn't happen often, but once is more than enough. That was not fun to watch.
Yeah, it is surprising that it hasn't happened before. Or I always think, like, somehow somebody's arm is going to get stuck in one of those, the holes where the they changed the score number. It is interesting that it hasn't happened before. But yeah, that was rough to watch. Hopefully he's doing well. I was kind of reading lips and watching the faces of the Angels players on the broadcast, and it looked like they were all pointing to like forehead, not the eye, which is obviously like what you're nervous about. Like hopefully it's just like a nasty gash on his forehead and he's got a cool scar for life. But yeah, that looked awful.
Yeah, Angels interim manager Ray Montgomery said after the game that his eye was okay. He had, as you said, a pretty deep gash above his eye. He went to the hospital to get stitches. Not sure if he got tested for a concussion, but I would presume he did, just given the force with which his face hit some metal. And again, I don't think the Astros are going to change their ballpark. I don't think they're going to change the layout of this whole thing, but it's certainly something that they need to now be a little bit more mindful of. Maybe put some more. I don't know what they could do to protect that a little more, but that was a tough scene. But there was one, I believe it was in the Mariners game last year where the Astros won the division. Jason Hayward was playing left field and like went back to brace himself on the out of town scoreboard and hit one of the places where either the number or the team name was like not secured in well, and he just went straight through it.
Yeah.
Like his hand, like it didn't hurt him or anything, but like he was bracing himself to like feel for the wall.
Yeah.
And his hand went straight through the wall. So that kind of stuff we kind of laughed about it at the time because it was kind of funny to look at. But today was absolutely no laughing matter. That was really scary. Right before that, we got to see Lance McCullers come in as a reliever. As someone, Tyler, that awaited this moment for a very long time. What did you think of Lance McCullers Jr., the reliever?
First inning looked good, you know.
He did. I'll say this. After his start in Baltimore, he was pretty adamant that he was only thing that was missing was the sinker. He was one pitch away, and that once he got the sinker right, that he would be effective. And in the first inning he threw, it lent credence to that claim because that was the best his sinker has looked. That is the best he's commanded it. He got ahead in the count with it, and he was able to use his spin stuff. Like you saw it that it's still in there, that if he can get the sinker right, it's good. But I mean, he needed 24, 25 pitches to get out of the first inning he threw. And then the second inning kind of unraveled on him, and it forced an interesting decision.
Yeah. I mean, it just I don't know. I knew that they were going to bring him back out because that's what you have to do, but I would really like to see him get an off season to come in thinking, okay, I'm a 1-inning reliever and I can, dial it up a little bit more. Cause again, he still was sitting 91, 92 on his sinker. I think he has a little bit more in there. But he was clearly still trying to hold it back because he wanted to finish the game. He wanted to pitch 3 innings. The sinker was located a little bit better today. The only real scary contact was the Mike Trout double that was a couple feet away from being a home run. But it's the same thing that he's had trouble with all year, and it's that he cannot consistently throw stuff in the strike zone, and hitters know that, and they just sit on a pitch and they wait for it in a certain spot, and they just assume that pitch is either going to come and they can make a good swing on it, or by the time that pitch comes, there will already have been 4 balls thrown. He just has not been able to locate. The slider was really all over the place today. If you look at his heat map, the ones that were strikes were almost down the middle, and everything else was, down and away to righties. He wasn't really able to command that. I do not believe, I'm looking at his pitch chart right now. I don't think that he threw a curveball in the strike zone. I'm not saying for a strike because he got a couple of swinging strikes on them, but he did not throw one in the strike zone. And you just can't live like that. Like you're going to have to throw pitches in the strike zone, and he has not been able to do that. Tough to watch. And yeah, it led to a very interesting 9th inning where you just use McCullers as your long relief guy. I mean, he's not going to pitch for 3 or 4 days probably. And then you are bringing up Luis Garcia tomorrow, which great. I'm excited to see that. I don't think they're expecting him to go 7 innings. So you would hope that you would have another long relief guy out there, someone like AJ Blueball, who could be available in case things go haywire in the 2nd inning tomorrow. And for some reason, he pitched the 9th inning today. I know the bullpen was depleted, but what did you think of that? Why did McCullers and Blueball throw today?
McCullers and Blueball, I think their intention. Again, I didn't ask about it after the game, but going on precedent and going how Joe has managed the bullpen in his tenure, my thinking is that their intention was for McCullers to finish that game.
Sure.
That he was going to take down the final 3 innings and they would use 2 pitchers and they'd be in decent shape for tomorrow. Instead, Lance McCullers threw 51 pitches and got 6 outs.
Yep.
And they couldn't keep throwing him more because you're now getting to a point of, are you risking his health? Because he threw 22 pitches in the 1st inning. His 1st inning of work, I believe that would mean he threw, my LSU math's not good, I believe that mean he threw 29 pitches in his 2nd inning of work. They couldn't. No, they could have sent him out there again and said,
if it were 7-0, they would have sent him back out there. I think it was still close enough that they were like, we're not. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't want to punt the game completely.
Because it's not like he hasn't thrown 50 pitches. Like he's been starting.
Right,
He certainly could have thrown more pitches. But yeah, it was still a close game and he didn't have it. Again, he looked fine in the 1st inning. Pitches were kind of over the place. I did like that he threw from the stretch exclusively. I thought that was smart. But yeah, man, it's look, I'm not trying to write an obituary for Lance McCullers. He's still on the team. He's still out there. He's got a spot in Houston for the rest of his life. Like he has earned that. He might just not have a spot on the baseball team for much longer. Like he's not able to get outs at a consistent enough rate that you can trust that you can get him out there and keep throwing him. Again, I would really like to see him have a chance to really be a 1-inning reliever. Now, that would also mean that he would agree to that or want to do that, and I don't know about that. But I don't know. I mean, the velo's not coming back. Like he's not going to throw 95 again. And if he's going to be like this junk ball pitcher, the junk has to be in the strike zone, and it just hasn't been. And it hasn't been the whole year. He's obviously shown flashes. I mean, you can look at that Dodgers start and dream on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much longer they can keep putting him out there.
And it's games like today's that make that a more growing possibility because they had to burn AJ Blueball today because Lance McCullers couldn't get them 9 outs and in the game. Much like in Baltimore last week, I don't want to be this drastic, but do the Astros DFA Sean Dubin if Lance McCullers can get them more than 4 innings in a game that they led by 4 runs? And Sean Dubin got claimed off of waivers by, coincidentally, the Orioles. So I'm not saying that one person caused that series of stuff, but like could have gone a little bit differently if he gets you deeper into the game. It's getting to a point where the opportunities that they have to use him are so few and far between. And because he is on the roster and because he is in a bullpen that is a man down because they're deploying a 6-man rotation, like they have to use him in some capacity. Like they can't just ignore him. This is not a Robel Garcia or a Cesar Salazar situation where like they can just be on the team and you forget they're on the team because you never use them. Like he's a pitcher. Like they have to use him at some point. As far as why they picked AJ Blueball to pitch the 9th inning, because Brian Abreu had gone 3 of the past 4 days, as had Brian King. Eniel De Los Santos had gone 3 days in a row, albeit he threw 3 pitches on Thursday and 4 pitches on Saturday, but still he had pitched 3 days in a row. Craig Kimbrell had gone 2 days in a row. Caleb Ort, if he would have pitched today, would have gone 3 out of 4 days. They were up against it. They could not afford to use those guys. And the one thing it did do, even if Luis Garcia can only give you 4 or 5 innings tomorrow, you will have all those guys I just mentioned ostensibly available, and you'll be able to piece it together a little bit. But it's just not a sustainable way to go through things. And I think it's going to force some interesting conversations. I think it's going to force, some interesting decisions, to be honest with you. But I will say, I watched him in the first inning, and in the first inning he threw, and everything that Lance talked about after his start in Baltimore just kind of manifested. The sinker was there, and he looked great. He looked really good. And that was what you kind of hope. If they could bottle that up and get a little bit more of that, it's a different conversation that we're having. But that's not how it's gone. The one thing I'll, and I've told you this via text, but the one thing I'll disagree with you. They can tell him he's a 1-inning reliever and everything, but he's not going to all of a sudden start throwing 95.
No, I don't think he's going to get to 95, but I think he could sit at 93 instead of 91.
He came in today knowing he wasn't going to. He came in today knowing he had to take some innings down, but also he wasn't coming in conserving energy, if you will. He knew he was going to pitch 2-3 innings, and even if they took the lead, maybe they would have used a leverage guy at the end of the game to close the game out. He probably wouldn't have even had to throw all 3 innings. But he came out today and the velo was the exact same. I'm not sure it's in there right now. Can it get there with a full off season, a normal off season for him where he knows he's coming into camp and he's going to be treated like a normal pitcher? He doesn't have a delayed buildup, things like that. Maybe it can, but right now I don't see it. And it's going to create some difficult conversations, I think, going forward. But we'll talk about some more positive pitching news because Cristian Javier threw the ball very well this weekend, as did Spencer Arrighetti. We'll talk about that right after another message from our friends at Foul Territory.
Okay, KP, this is your first Arena Club experience. We're going to open a slab pack together. So first off, we're going to buy one of those $25 slab packs, and we get to see what is in the pack. There it is. The Grail, which is the best card in the pack and worth the most. There are some other cards that we're chasing, and you can see the entire lineup so that you know what you're in the running for. There's the Yamamoto signed card. Now, let's open up our pack and see how we do. We have ourselves a really cool graphic, and then a Shohei Ohtani 50-50 card from last year. What do you want to do? Should we sell it right back to them for 16, or should we keep it?
You should give it to me. I'll keep it.
Good answer. Fine, I will give it to you. Since the Blue Jays didn't get Ohtani, you can get this 50-50 card instead. Use the code FOUL, F-O-U-L, to get yourself 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Yes, you get to keep that card if you want it. They send it to you. FOUL at arenaclub.com/foul.
The tone of a lot of this discussion, the first 35 minutes of it, has not been overly glowing or positive. I know everyone's shocked about that coming from me, but it has not been a positive discussion. But I'm here to tell you that what happened on Friday and Saturday is perhaps the biggest development that has happened in maybe the last month for the Astros, and that is Cristian Javier and Spencer Arrighetti looking like the guys that they were before their injury. Javier especially on Friday, 6 no-hit innings against the Angels team that, again, we need to temper some stuff a little bit here. The Angels have, I believe, the lowest batting, or the second or third lowest batting average in baseball. They are not a great offensive team. They hit a bunch of homers, but they don't do much else. But Javier just toyed with them for 6 innings. The fastball had the IVB, the induced vertical break. It had the explosion in the life. It was up to 95 at times, but sat, 93, 94. I know the Astros want Javier's breaking stuff to get a little bit better. They want him to get a little more chase on the breaking balls. But the thing I was most impressed with is he was using the breaking balls early in counts to get ahead. He was landing the sweeper a lot in zone early in counts and 0-0 counts, 1-0 counts. He was able to use the secondary early in counts to get ahead. And then the fastball just had it to it. It had the invisible ride. It looked like 2022 Cristian Javier when he started 2 combined no-hitters for the Astros. had a combined no-hitter going on Friday until Aniel De Los Santos gave up a double to Yohan Moncada, but that's beside the point. Javier looked exactly the way the Astros need him to look. I've written it. I don't know if I've said it, but if I haven't, I'll say it now. I think he is the most important player on this team for the next month and a half, just what they get out of him and whether he can harness this form. And if he can do this, then they've got a pretty formidable top three of a rotation that I know we've talked about the offense and how much it's struggled. I don't know who's going to get the last, 9 outs of a game, but you go into a playoff series with Valdez, Brown, and that version of Javier, like you got to feel pretty good about your chances. I thought that was the biggest development of this weekend, Tyler, was Cristian Javier and Spencer Arrighetti pitching the way they did.
Yeah, Javier just looked vintage Javier. I mean, he didn't give up a hit, which he is wont to do. That's one of the things that he is best at, is not giving up hits to people. And you're right. He looked really good. He's averaging 93 on his fastball, which is actually a tick up from last year before, he left with an injury. And it's even a little bit higher than it was in 2023. So his velo is like more than back to, his levels there, which was a concern, obviously, coming off Tommy John. But he's looked great. I mean, in that start, I know he had a bad start and a tummy start, but he looked really good in that start. And it was, like you said, just classic Javier, where it's like he's going to throw a fastball down the middle. And for whatever reason, these big leaguers act like they've never seen a 93-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle before, because they haven't seen his. Like his just does something. Could you explain the IVB real quick for everybody? Or at least what it feels like in the batter's box?
I wish I could give like the technical explanation for it. I'm just not that smart. I can't tell you specifically how IVB works.
Okay, I can help you. All right. Okay. So when you throw a four-seam fastball, the seams spin. So you'll hear sometimes from people that a fastball will rise. That's physically impossible. That's not how it works. Like when you throw a fastball on a plane, it is going to go down some. But when you can spin a fastball really, really fast, it's spinning so fast that there's not enough air resistance to have it go down as much. And so major league hitters know what a fastball down the middle is typically going to break at, and their minds just automatically adjust to where to put the barrel of the bat. Like, the balls are all going to kind of dip at the same rate for the most part. Javier's is different. It does not dip as much as everybody else, which is why you see people swing through fastballs that you're like, how is this happening? Or you see him get so many pop-ups on fastballs, and then it's able to play off his other stuff so much, because when you're a hitter too, normally you can at least say, well, I'm going to sit on a fastball. But with Javier, sitting on a fastball is not going to help you, because it looks different. Like until you have seen that fastball enough and you know how to adjust your bat to that, it's really difficult to sit on that pitch, which then makes his secondary stuff even better, because just nobody is comfortable in the box. I mean, what's Trout like, 0 for 13, 0 for 14 with like 9 strikeouts against Javier in his career? That's Mike Trout. Like, Mike Trout knows how to hit a fastball down the middle, and he struggles against Cristian Javier because that ball is spinning so fast that it's just not dropping at the same rate that you would expect it to.
The most common thing you'll hear from hitters that face Cristian Javier is that they'll say something to the effect of, it got on me quicker than I thought it would, because it's just one of these things. Like, it doesn't look like it's 93. It gets on them as if it's 98. And they can't, like what you just eloquently described, they know what 93 looks like from a normal slot, with normal IVB. Like they haven't prepared for this. So it truly is an invisible. Like, they have called Cristian Javier's fastball the invisible, and it's because it just disappears. There's just so much hop, and it rides, and it's really difficult for hitters to square up. And you saw it on Friday, a ton of pop-ups, a ton of weak contact. I think he only gave up 3 balls in play that were hit 95 or harder. They were all hit within the 95-mile-an-hour range and all by Taylor Ward. So there was one guy that could catch up to him, and even when he caught up to him, they were not hit hard. He gave up no hard contact, was really able to keep guys off balance. I'm going to be completely honest, Tyler. I don't know if you watched the game on Saturday. I was a little preoccupied with another game, so I did not see much of Spencer Arrighetti's start, but the line looked good, and he threw 19 sweepers, 10 of which were swung upon, 7 whiffs, 2 foul balls, and then he got 3 more called strikes on the sweeper. So the sweeper must have been working, and then if he's got one of those spin pitches working, he can work so many of both his fastballs off of that, and really seem to keep him off balance.
Yeah, hitters are hitting 0.71 on his sweeper this year, which is pretty good. That's what you want. And his fastball too is been really good. Their batters are hitting 143 on his fastball. So when he's able to locate those, now he did have some walks. I think he had 5 walks in the game. And then he left with runners on, and then, got not bailed out, but it could have been easily 3 runs against him. But the bullpen did his job. But yeah, he looked good. I mean, we've said all along, like Spencer Arrighetti has the stuff. He strikes out people. He looks really good. But you're right. I mean, having Javier, if he can be anything like that as your game 3 starter, and then having, Arrighetti be a scary bullpen guy in a 5-game series, and then your game 4 guy in a longer series, or I guess Jason Alexander probably. But regardless, like that is huge. The Astros desperately needed one or both of those guys to get back to the level that you would expect. And those 2 starts were huge signs of encouragement.
Yeah. You talk about guys that stuff would play up out of the bullpen, like Spencer Arrighetti to me, like that screams like you get him, like, and this is not his future. I'm saying like in a playoff situation where they have 3 starters, like you get him in the bullpen, like
that extension too. Like,
yeah, he profiles as the ideal playoff swing man. Like if you don't trust any of your setup guys, if you don't trust any of your middle relief, like give him the ball in the 6th and say, get me to Abreu in the 9th. And he seems perfectly capable of that if he keeps pitching like this. So there were positives. There were things that for the long term of the season, there were things that were encouraging from these 6 games. But the Astros got to hit. Like, I mean, it's pretty simple. Like you can't win if you don't score. And they pitched well enough in these 6 games to win. I did not watch Saturday's game, so I don't know how Brian Abreu looked in that rocky 9th inning. From what I understand, it wasn't a ton of he wasn't getting lasers hit around the yard on him.
Yeah.
Still, he was giving up some contact, and that's going to happen. I mean, he's been there. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball all year. Like they're allowed to have hiccups
for most of his career. He's been one of the best relievers. Like you get a game every once in a while where you give up some runs. That happens.
Which at that point it would have been nice for the offense to give them more than 1 run. That would have probably helped. It would have given them a little bit of cushion.
A run. Apparently, that's too much to ask. So, who's pitching tomorrow? Is it? I guess it doesn't matter. It could be Sandy Koufax or a no name, and I would expect the same results from.
It is
judging on the last week.
It's a fellow you may know. His name is Yusei
that's
Kikuchi.
right. I knew that.
So Yusei will pitch on Monday opposite Luis Garcia. Good for Luis Garcia, who is I tried to write about, and I wrote about this, and I know a lot of other people have too. Genuinely one of the nicest, most positive, happy people around in the clubhouse. Like just has handled a situation that would stagger a lot of people. The 28-month recovery with so many setbacks, hasn't pitched in 2 years. Has handled it with such grace and a smile on his face. Like from a human standpoint, it's going to be nice to see him back out there just so he can get out there. As far as what he can give them, I don't know. Like he threw as many as 6 innings in his rehab start in his one of his 9 rehab starts. He threw as many as 6 innings. I think if he got them through 5, they would be ecstatic. He's experimented with his arm motion. He shortened his arm motion and has since kind of gradually gone back to just having a longer one, what feels normal for him. The velo has not been there in the rehab starts. It's been very inconsistent. So they are hoping cautiously that he can't, that, pitching in a major league game with that adrenaline, that the velo will just naturally tick up. But you may not see the velo you're accustomed to seeing from Luis Garcia. It may be, as we talked about with Javier and Arrighetti when they came back, like there's going to be some growing pains. It may not be excellent right off, but nonetheless, it's going to be a nice sight to see Luis Garcia back on the mound tomorrow.
You want to guess who was hitting cleanup the last time Luis Garcia pitched for the Astros?
I actually looked at the lineup the other day because I was writing about it. I know Jose Abreu and Corey Julks had RBIs in that game.
Yep. Martín Maldonado.
Was Jose Abreu hitting cleanup?
Abreu was hitting cleanup, yeah. And he had 2 RBIs. Way to go. And I'm sure it worked out well from there.
I mean, Jeff Bagwell said it when they signed him that he was an RBI machine, and that's what they liked about him.
Yeah, this guy's an RBI machine. He just knows how to hit it.
In the year of our Lord, 2023, they were evaluating a player on RBIs. What a thing.
Aggie legend Ross Stripling started for the Giants, so congrats on that.
How'd they do yesterday?
1-0, baby. You and me both.
Who'd Mike Elko get on the schedule for the opener? He really tested his team.
What? We don't make the schedule. I think you actually do, but I'm going to say, we play who we play. Okay. You know what? That's all I can say. UTSA is going to win whatever they're in. 1-0. Back off.
LSU's 1-0 too. They played a team you may have heard of.
Yeah, that was a good game. I watched that one once the Aggie game was over. Notre Dame next week. That's going to be a good one. What's the score? What's the score right now? I don't even know.
Is it in? It's in Notre Dame because it was in College Station.
Yeah.
It's in Notre Dame.
Miami's up 21-7 at the end of the third.
Oof,
I was kind of hoping Notre Dame would win so we wouldn't get a bounce back game next week.
You're going to get some angry Catholics. You're going to get the angry Catholics going against the Aggies. That's going to be a tough one. If you're bored between now and the next college football Saturday, you can shop. CrushCityTerritoryShop.com. If you have a friend's birthday coming up, if you've got a holiday in your life, if you need things to wear to your favorite tailgate, if your college team sucks and you don't want to wear their logos anywhere, there are logos. If you're watching on YouTube, you can scan the QR code and it'll take you to CrushCityTerritoryShop.com. Duffel bags, hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, trucker hats, water bottles, coffee mugs, notebooks, anything you want. We've got it at CrushCityTerritoryShop.com. You can buy all of your merch there. We would be forever grateful. And we would also be grateful if you followed us on social media. I am at Chandler_Rome on X. Tyler is at Tyler C. Stafford. As always, you can rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. You can leave comments on the Spotify episodes. I was reading a couple of them earlier this week, and my self-esteem only took a couple notches down. So good job, commenters. You only made me feel a little bad. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notified every time we post a new video. Please like the videos on YouTube. You can leave comments there as well. We always love to read those. Someone loved your Avett Brothers album.
As they should.
Whatever the Avett Brothers are.
I tried to get you into them. Let it be known. I tried and Chandler didn't like it.
I tried. I listened to like a little bit and it wasn't for me.
That's fine. Got Gang of Youths down there too. Another great album. People are looking for suggestions. Hit me up. I'm a big music guy.
Gang of Youths? Is that like
a
threat?
Great. Yes, exactly. No, they're really good. You should listen to them too. Actually, no, because you were upset with me last time and it made me very angry that you didn't like the Avett Brothers. You don't get Gang of Youths, all right? That's for me.
I don't want Gang of Youths.
Well,
does
anyone
want a Gang of Youths?
You don't get it. So good.
Good. That's as good a place as anywhere to end it. We'll be back at the middle of next week to talk about the Astros and the Yankees. They're going to play 3 games next week. Then I'm sure people will be very tempered and react very rationally to whatever happens in the 3 games between the Astros and the Yankees at Dyken Park next week. We'll be back to talk about all of that next week. And until then, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.